All right, welcome in everybody to Explore Lumio, where we provide continuous learning opportunities for how Lumio can benefit teachers and students. We are so happy you've joined us for a look into activities focused on building relationships with routines. So, my name is Melody Yu, and I am a training specialist from Pennsylvania. And this week's webinar, The Joy of Fall Building Relationships Within Routines, features Kat Degar, professional development specialist from South Carolina. We encourage participation, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask those in the chat box during the presentation, and we'll either integrate them into the flow or hold them to be answered at the end during our Q&A period. We will be sharing resources from today's webinar in the chat. Also, for participating today, a certificate will be provided after you complete a brief survey at the end. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Kat so we can dive into today's webinar, The Joy of Fall, Building Relationships Within Routines.
Thank you so much, Melody, and welcome everybody. So first things first, let's get you joined into our class to participate. So what I want you to do is you can join in by going to hellosmart.com and typing in that class code. We would love to have you join and participate, but it's also fine if you're just ready to watch here in the Zoom for now. So let's get everybody in. I am also going to paste this link in our chat if you'd rather join in this way. It makes it a little bit easier for you. I see we have one person in. Fabulous.
Awesome. We do have quite a few attendees today, Kat, so we'll take a moment.
Excited.
Glad everyone's excited about relationships.
Such an important thing to build at the beginning of the school year and throughout the school year.
Absolutely. Oh, go jump in that.
So again, there's some information in the chat on how you can join and participate with us. I'm going to give about another 30 seconds and then we will get started. See people from all over the world, and this just makes me so excited. I love seeing people from all over places. I'm from South Carolina, so southeast of the United States, where it is hot, hot.
Yeah, here in Pennsylvania, it's not too much better, but I think you guys are still hotter over there. But definitely there's like Finland, Canada, we have
Quebec.
Kuwait. Yeah. Incredible.
I see a familiar name in there. Hello, Odessa. So Odessa teaches where my son goes to middle school. So I'm always excited.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, let's go ahead and get going.
Yes. So the first thing that we're going to have you guys do, and by the way, you'll only be able to participate with this Shout It Out if you have clicked on that link that Kat sent you or joined using the information that Michelle has provided. So if you want to participate, please make sure that you go ahead and join Kat's lesson here. But, I'm sure that we're all familiar with the pressure that comes with the beginning of the school year and to-do lists and all that stuff. And sometimes it does feel like community and relationship building is just another thing on the list. But of course, we all know, right, how important it truly is in order to have a good year. So before we start sharing what we have with you, we'd like you to finish this sentence for us. A strong classroom community can be built by. And right now, if you are signed into Kat's lesson, you should have a little text box where you are able to click and, input your response. So we'll give you guys just a moment here there we go. Some things are starting to pop up.
Yes.
So let us know. It's like Kat's just doing a little sorting here.
But they're about to come in fast and furious.
They are. That's what's nice about this Shout It Out is you can get a quick grab of, information or student responses, and then you're even able to click and drag them around.
And I've talked about that before, Melody. That's what I love is, as we look at our growing class sizes, that's just the reality. And we don't have the time to call on every student. So Shout It Out is such a great way to capture student voice in a really quick way, where I can see all of the 33 participants and their answers. I get a good idea of what people are saying without taking 20 minutes out of my class to
absolutely
every single person.
Yes.
So let's look at some of these. I've been trying to sort them as best I can into categories, but we have a lot. So the one thing that you can do with the shout it out is you can move these around, which makes for good comparison and contrasting similarities and differences, grouping things together, whatever it may be. I'm going to highlight a couple of these just by clicking them. I think this is so important. A strong classroom community can be built by listening to and knowing your students' needs, likes, and desires. Absolutely. Having that information and having that relationship with your students.
For sure.
Let's see. Safe environment. Yes. Both of these kind of go together. I'm going to click on this one, but respecting everyone, that classroom culture of respect.
Absolutely.
Yes. And then voice and choice. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So one thing that I do want to kind of go off of that safe environment, this right now is I can see kind of who has contributed this. I can look at the first three letters of somebody's name, and I think we'd all probably in a classroom be able to figure out who this was. If you're asking a question or providing a prompt for students where they may not be as comfortable sharing, we can always come over to this little settings here, that cog, and I can turn those display names off. And now this is a risk-free environment for students to share their real thoughts without having their name up on the board. So this makes it anonymous for the student. I can still go in and see, but now it's just a dot instead of those three names, or three initials, excuse me. All right. Love those, love those. So let's shift on to our agenda.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, we'll just quickly talk about a couple of the things that we're going to show you guys today. So we started you off in that shout it out, and as you are in right now, you are in the student perspective, right? And then later on, we're going to kind of show you behind the scenes of what the teacher might have done to set up some of these activities. But what we're going to do is show you a few examples of activities that support goal setting, relationship building, and classroom management. So after you have interacted with those resources as students, like I said, we're going to take you into that teacher perspective and show you where you can find some of these resources. Because, Kat, right, a lot of these we just pulled right from the Lumio library. They were already made. All you have to do is customize it to fit the needs of your students, right? So we're going to take a look, again, at some examples of activities. Then we're going to show you where to find some examples you can pull from.
Perfect. So like Melody said, we have prepared a few examples for us. While you're in the chat, if you can share your ideas and modifications, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. What we're going to do to get started is a goal setting individual handout. Okay, this activity is a really simple way to encourage your students to set goals, but also to share their interests. So it's still kind of allowing me to get to know my students a little bit better. I can easily customize this to suit my needs. Instead of saying, I want to learn and I want to improve, I could do hopes and dreams or any other thing that kind of suits my classroom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit student progress. And on the student end, if you have not already hit start, I see several people have. If you have not already hit start, go ahead and do that. Okay. And as soon as you hit start, your name is going to pop up on my end. And I'm going to go in as a teacher, because I do have a teacher handout so I can model for you. So we can talk about the tools just a little bit. So when you're in a handout, you will have some tools on the left-hand side. Okay, if you have a touch screen, or if you're on like an iPad, maybe you want to use your pen. I, however, am not that talented with a mouse person. I don't know about you, Melody.
No, I don't know many people who are.
So I do have a pen and eraser. If I want to use a text box, it will be a 2-click process. So I'll click on my A, I'll click in my workspace, and I will type in my answer. I am trying to learn to crochet this year. So that's my goal. And then using this part plus mountain circle button, if I click on that, I have shapes that I can double click and bring in, or I could do lines. Or I could even, by going to this mountain icon, do a Bing safe search for an image. Crochet clip art. Let's see if I can pull in an image. There we go.
There you go. Cool.
All right.
I love how you chose crochet, Kat. I feel like my head was like, oh, I want to learn, I don't know, about like life cycles of blah, blah, blah. But I think that's really valid too, is sharing with students that it doesn't have to be school related, right? It can be just anything that you want to learn.
I'm an avid reader and I love to learn, but that for me is my personal goal this year
Yeah, yeah.
to learn something new.
Yep.
So I'm going to click on Odessa. I see that she has given me a check mark, so we're going to click on her name. Strategies to get along with others and improve critiquing others. That constructive feedback I know can be so hard, to make sure that we are feeding our students forward and not just giving them that like, good job, right?
Right. Being more
Let's look at a
specific.
couple more. I see Jennifer over here. Oh, nothing yet. That's okay. Let's check out Sarah's.
Ooh.
Yes, ma'am.
I also want to improve.
I think many of our students would like to improve their finances as well. So as the teacher, I can always give feedback as well using the same tools. So this is a great way for all grade levels to be able to kind of give you a little bit of information about themselves, and also start to talk about what their goals are with that growth mindset of, okay, maybe we're not here, but we are going to get there. Okay.
Absolutely. And this is a great activity, obviously, for the self, but then like sharing it out, or maybe even with a partner, getting to know each other. It's a huge part of not just goal setting, right? This is a great goal setting activity, but it kind of goes hand in hand with relationship building as well, because you
Yeah,
get to know somebody.
absolutely. So let's try another one. So this is kind of, we came up with this idea of motivating mottos. So
I love it.
as we have set our goals, maybe we want to kind of have a class place to share all of that. So with 30 people, I'm going to make this a group workspace. We weren't sure how many people we would have in today. So I am on the fly going to click on my little people up here. And I'm going to change this to a group workspace. Now, a little bit about our group workspaces. You can have a max of 54 students, okay, and up to teams of 9 with 6 students per team. Since we have 30, 33, 34.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it a second here.
I'm
Guys,
gonna give
if
it
you
a
want to,
second.
yeah, if you want to participate in this, you got to join now. You'll see why just as soon as Kat chooses how many teams. But if you haven't clicked that link, I saw Michelle threw it in there in the chat one more time.
Go with a
I know
5 second countdown.
still rising.
3, 2. Okay. So as soon as I click the number of teams, which we are going to do 9 teams, it will auto shuffle you. I absolutely love this feature. I taught high school, and I'm sure as any other teacher did, I don't want to be with so-and-so. I don't want to be with so-and-so. I want them to learn to work with each other, right? That is how we grow and build relationships with people that maybe don't have a lot of similarities with. So this is going to auto shuffle students. It's going to put them in groups, which kind of takes that onus off of me. But I can also always drag and drop these if I need to. But I like that this randomly pairs students out, because that is relationship building.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hit start workspace. It's going to tell you who you're working with. Okay. And what I want y'all to do is develop using your images and text. I'm just going to give you about 45 seconds. Some sort of motivation, whether it's a sentence, whether it is an image, whether it is a shape, whatever it may be, something to motivate your classmates, your colleagues about achieving their goals.
As everyone's doing that, I did see the numbers climb just a little bit after you hit the number of teams, Kat. And you guys probably noticed, right? When she chose the number of teams, it started shuffling everybody out. So if you're not in the class at the time when, all the names are being shuffled, then your name has not entered into the mix, right? And this is why we want to make sure, if you're running this kind of activity with your students, to go ahead and just make sure that everybody's in. Ooh, this one looks great already.
I love this. And so kind of the idea behind this is that you could actually share this with students and refer back to it throughout the year to help remind them when they're struggling that, yes, you can do this. It may take some hard work and it may take some productive struggle, but you have a whole group of classmates here and your teacher here to support you. I'm going to pop through a couple more because I want to see what everyone's doing. I love it.
Got this.
Oh, I like this.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I do want to highlight this right here. We just launched Open Dyslexic Text. And so this is great for students who may have dyslexia to help them identify those letters a little bit better. So shout out to the development team. Let's see what else we have, and then we will move on. Oh, someone colored it, and teal is my favorite color. How did they know?
A creative way to use the
I
pen
know,
that I
I
hadn't
love
thought
it.
of.
Oh, don't forget to be awesome. Yes. All right, great job, guys. So I'm going to scoot forward. We are going to get into relationship building. We've worked on that goal setting with some relationship building in there, right?
Yes.
But now we want to focus strictly on relationship building. So I'm going to move us forward so that we can look at my favorite things. Okay. This is a would you rather whole class whiteboard. Okay. And this fun activity allows students to learn about each other and their similarities or differences while being active on a whole class whiteboard. And we're going to talk about this in just a second. This could simply be done at the board. Okay. So students could just come up to the board. They don't have to be logged on. Or you could even have students get up and move to certain sides of the room. Okay. What I'm going to do is hit class progress. When you're in a whole class whiteboard, all 38 of you will have editing rights, okay? So depending on which animal you would rather have as a class pet, drag the glue
Oh,
to your
they already
tool.
started.
I know, I love it.
Wow, there's more for the snake than I thought there would be.
I'm very surprised at that. I'll be honest. I've had a snake as a class pet, not my personal class when I was in school. I was not as apt to play with the class pet. Oh, wow.
Wow. Whew. And this is awesome too. I mean, so like we were talking about earlier, you guys, this is already made. We just kind of pulled this in from a pre-created file. And we're only showing you this one and there's another one right after. But there's so many different prompts for this would you
Yes.
rather.
There are so many different prompts. So what I do want to talk about with Black Whiteboard as I'm just seeing them go, go, go. This is a great opportunity to talk about the fact that as a teacher, up in that
Oh,
top,
yes.
I can toggle that off. And now you cannot edit it anymore. Okay. So I can take away editing rights, kind of talk about the glue dragging and why we may prefer a snake over a hamster. The other thing I can do is if I click on any one of these icons that's been drugged, I can see who dragged it. So there is a contribution feature. Okay. So even though we have a bunch in here, I can still see who dragged it, which I really like. Okay.
Yes.
Let's check out this shot.
No, go ahead. I was just thinking there's way more than 39 on there, which is, likely what would happen
Exactly.
with students, but you would, like Kat said, be able to see who is doing all that.
So let's check out our other example because I really like this one. Oh, there we go. So again, this was something that we pulled out of the Lumio library. You could actually make your own. Okay, so you could create your own would you rather. So let's do this. I'm going to change this into an individual handout and make your own would you rather. What would you use for your class? Okay, so on your end, again, you'll hit start. I'm so excited to see your prompts.
Oh,
So
another
you can
thing to
just
think about.
do
Oh,
this.
sorry, Kat.
Oh, no. Go ahead, Melody.
I was just going to say another thing to think about is, if you have students logged in this way and like Kat just did, turn it into an individual handout, you could have your students make their own prompts for
Yeah.
the I almost said the this or that. Or the would you rather. I know it's called both things, right? So
Being from the South, and I don't know, I know we have people all over the world here. I live in a state that has two very competitive college football teams, Carolina Gamecocks and Clemson Tigers. I would have to make one of
oh yeah.
Gamecocks or are you Tigers?
Yep.
And I know other people would be like, I'm Georgia. All right, Shahad, I'm picking on you. I'm going to see what you did in a second.
Yeah, again, another great way to learn about each other, right?
I know, I love these. So he's dragged in some of those side icons. I really like that. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about doing that earlier. All those side icons, you could pull those in.
Oh, that's true. You discovered something that we didn't
We
even
hadn't
realize.
even thought about. Let's see.
Oh, and just so you guys know, you can double click into that right idea here text box to edit it if you were not already aware. So when a text box is unlocked, you can change it by double clicking inside. Then you erase what's in there and replace it with your own text.
Yes. Let's do it. Ooh, I like
Ah,
this one, Tammy. Start school later or leave school earlier.
I just saw from Emma. Can you have students create these and then pick one that everyone will be able to answer? Yes. Yes, like your students can make their own and then you could play the game, or maybe this is for a brain break or something to split up your day. You do like 3 or 4 would you rathers in between different transitions. Absolutely.
Ooh, tell a story, act a story. Ooh, I love
Oh, that is a good one.
it. No. Okay, last one. I'm gonna look at Kimberly's and wake up early all day.
Oh, really? I must stay up late.
No, I'll get up at 4 in the morning rather than stay up till midnight.
Ooh,
Ooh, I'm gonna go with the salad. I like
I'm the opposite again, Kat.
All right. So one other thing just to kind of show you. Oh, let's see. We have how would you convert? So Tanya, if we did something like this and I wanted all students to participate, I have a couple of options. One, I could pull up the student example and then have students come up. If they have a touch screen, they could drag up on the main board to be able to do that. Or I could create a different file and just use these examples in a different file to make a whole class.
Yeah, or
Or
you could pull this up and have this, like we were saying earlier, go to the opposite sides of the room. So it may just be easier, honestly, to pull this up and say, okay, Tammy says start school later or leave school earlier. Everyone who wants to start school later, go to the left side of the room. Everybody else, go to the right. Or yeah, the thumbs up, thumbs down.
I was gonna say right and left, and then I realized I would be doing this in class, so that would
Oh,
mess
yeah.
up. Which one which? So these are great, especially for those younger grades where maybe they're just going to be able to drag things a little bit more. Stand up, sit down, Sarah. I love that idea as well.
Perfect.
So we're going to look at this one. I'm going to skip that one because we did this. For your older kids, if you're looking at secondary level, this is one that's out of the Lumio library that I absolutely love. This is called a Graph with Me, and it's a great way to help learn about your students, but it's also refreshing their knowledge of the coordinate plane and having to plot those points. And these are all customizable in terms of the sentences,
Mhm.
but it is true, they're supposed to drag the point there. If it is not true, then they just kind of scratch it out. So I really like this one for our older kids because it is starting to refresh that knowledge of things that may have gotten lost over the summer. Because it happens.
Yeah.
All right. So switching from relationship building, we are going to now take a look at classroom management.
Yes.
Oh,
And the first thing that we're going to take a look at with our classroom management is the command center. We're calling it command center. You can call it whatever you like, obviously. Like I was saying, we can change anything. But here you'll see, there's the day, there's a morning checklist, today's weather, there's a spot for the morning message. And then at the bottom on the right, we also have a section that has all of the students' names and these really cute little cat emojis that you can drag up. They are infinitely cloned. So you can drag them to your name to show how you're feeling today. So this is kind of doing a couple things, right? Because we want to talk about how routines and relationship building go together. So, while obviously this is a great routine to have in place, you can change any of the different boxes to fit what you want to do. But that part where students are checking in emotionally provides not only you with information as to, Anshu looks like she's feeling a little sleepy today. I wonder if she got enough sleep. Okay. So it tells you some information, and maybe Louise, I need to go check on Louise. It looks like she's feeling upset about something. But the other thing is it shows each other, each student, how each other is feeling as well, right? So maybe Kat's gonna go talk to Elise and be like, hey, are you okay? And we can kind of encourage not just us as the teacher to check in with each other, but each other as members of our classroom community to care about each other and ask each other those questions and see how we can best support each other.
Well, and just developing that kindness and empathy and
Mm-hmm.
compassion in the classroom that, you know, the fact is we know that kids bring home with them, right? And
Yep.
so maybe they have something tough going on and they just need some extra TLC from their friends.
Yep. Yep.
Wanda, the emojis, I brought these in from a search. So you could
Oh
pick
yeah.
any that you wanted. So when I did an image search, I just typed in this case, I typed in cat emojis because my name is Cat and I like cat. But you could find any emojis and add as many as you want. Like you don't have to limit it to 5. You can have plenty in here. And it's as simple when you bring it in to click on that image, drop down and make that an infinitely cloned image so kids have multiple ones to grab.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Perfect.
these were
Oh
all done
yes.
at the bottom just so we have them available. Since we will be sharing this file, we did pair it with just kind of what would you call this, Melody? Like an informational?
Yeah, just a bank of, symbols that you might be looking for. So actually, Kat, if you go back to your command center, forgot to mention in the upper right, you're gonna see, a little book, maybe indicating that today is a library day or something like that. So if you go to the next page, we do have other specials, right, to show you, oh, today's art, today's PE, today's music. And these aren't all the specials that exist in every school. You might not have one thing, or you might have a different special. So, again, any of these pages can be totally customized for whatever you need it to be.
This way, it's just easier if you do have things that fall under these categories or the weather you can change as well. Just kind of gives you a bank to pick from so you don't
Yep.
have to quick search for these.
Perfect.
Okay. My favorite, Melody.
Yes. And this one, it's a little bit different from the previous ones we've looked at, right? This is a game based activity. It's a super sort and it's all about rules and expectations. So, Kat, if you want to hit model activity, you guys should be able to hit start if you are signed into Kat's lesson here. And you'll see that on the left, we've got positive classroom choices, and on the right, we have poor classroom choices. And then down the bottom, we have all of the different options. So, if you are on your own device, you can click and drag anything over. So let's see, is that waiting in line? Yep, positive classroom choice.
And with any
Yeah.
of your images, you'll notice this little blue box. So if you can't quite tell, let's try another one. Not today, computer. My
Oh, that one
computer
came up, but
decided, oh, did it? Okay, let's
but
give
I
them a,
saw it. Maybe you give it a
there
minute.
we
There
go.
we go.
My computer needs coffee. So any of these blue icons or the little blue squares will blow that image up a little bit bigger so you have a better view, or you can see the text within a text box. If it is wrong, it's gonna wiggle its way back out.
Yes. Yes. And I really love too the idea that I was thinking and we talked about earlier was just, maybe you make these little answer choices with your students, right? A lot of teachers and classrooms, you will make your expectations and rules together. So you could absolutely put some of that wording in here. You could take photos of your students actually doing the things and then upload them into the game. So that's like even more interesting for them, right? Like I'm in the game. I'm here.
And I know within that Lumio library, there's several lessons already on classroom rules and expectations. You could do an individual or group workspace there, get students buy-in into
Yep.
what are good and poor classroom choices, and then make a review game for that kind of do now start. I'm going to click on the data though while we're doing this so we can take a
Yes.
peek.
Yeah, so there are 3 games right now that will give us data. It's Super Sort, which is this game, Match 'em Up and Rank Order. And it's really nice because it collects both whole class and individual student data. So if we click on Show Results over in the right side, we'll be able to see the whole class data, which actually I think is really cool. I like that it shows the 5 most frequent incorrect answers, right?
Well, when we talk about I know schools across the nation, across the world are big on data. And so this is your data. This is your data-driven instruction. What are students struggling? what do we need to talk about?
Yep.
And it just makes it so easy to really quickly see what students are struggling with, or what are they absolutely like nailing. I think it is universal that all of our students, I hope, know to raise their hand in
Raise
class.
our hands.
But I love it. We've seen it a couple of times. It updates in real time. And so as people are finishing this game, we're seeing that data change, which is absolutely fabulous.
Yes. And then up at the top, you can also change from the class overview to student progress. And obviously, normally you would not show this student progress to all of your students. We're only doing it for you right now because, for the purposes of our training, but you would be able to see each student's response, what they got wrong, what they got right on all of their first attempts, which is,
That's the important, that first attempt. What did you know the very first time you made it?
Yes. Yes. We have talked about too, like if you wanted it to be a pre and post, you could just as easily like make a copy of this game, put one at the beginning and one at the end, and then you have two sets of data if you really want to get that second trial.
And I will say, like this particular game, somebody else customized background for me. But I love that with the themes, you can just duplicate the game, make a copy, change your theme. Now you have another goal.
Yep.
Working smarter and not harder.
That's right.
All right. So we've kind of taken a look at all of these things, and we are now going to dive into Lumio from this teacher perspective for just a couple minutes. So what you're going to do is up in the top left, okay, you are going to, if you want to build along with me, okay, if you want to go along with me, click on the top left. When you do this, you will get an option that says leave class. Okay. So leave my class. If I ever needed to, I see that number flashing.
Yeah, it's going down.
Melody was in my class as a student. She had left for a dentist appointment and forgot to leave. I can always come in here and edit this list. So I'm going to kick everybody out. I'm going to remove everybody. Okay. And so I can always kind of edit that list as I need to. And so what you'll do is go to golumio.com and sign in with either your Google or your Microsoft account. Okay.
And those directions are in the chat as well. So you can refer to those too.
Okay, so golumio.com. I'm going to type it one more time in the chat. I am going to end my lesson so we can come on in here. I have a lot going on in my Lumio today.
That's what happens when you're busy in Lumio. A lot of files.
Right. All the things to build. Okay, I'm going to give everybody about 30 more seconds just to make sure you've had a chance to sign in. If you have never signed in before, you may have to create an account. So you'd do an adult and then you would do your display name, which is what your students would see. Okay, so I would not do my display name personally as Kat. I would do Miss DeGar.
Yes, and by the way, you guys, if you fall behind and you're like, I can't keep up, don't worry too much. The webinar is being recorded and will get uploaded as well. So we'll make sure to show you kind of where to find all of that.
Okay. So one thing I do want to show you before we dive into Lumio Library is where your students would access that class ID. So up in the top right is my class ID. There's that 199109. And if I click on it, it will bring it up large. But at the beginning, I did share that quick link out with you guys. I can grab this and paste this in my learning management system, or even print this out so students could just scan it. Makes it so much easier for students to log in very, very quickly and easily. Okay, so that's where this information would be. And where we are going to go is up in the top. So my library are my files. And we're going to shift over to Lumio Library. Melody, what do we want to search for? Do we want to do like goal setting ones or?
I don't know. Well, there was a lot of attention on the would you rather,
Yes. Okay.
right?
So within this Lumio library, these are these ready-made resources that you can customize to meet the needs of your students. Featured is going to be seasonal. So this is where a lot of back to school stuff is right now. You'll notice that graph of
Oh
me.
yeah, there that is.
Yes, it's my favorite. But if you go up to the right, I can click see more. And I want to say this is the one where we got the goal setting, but there's just so
Yes.
many in here. And over down to the left, at least on my end, is going to be the would you rather back to school. So I'm going to click on that. And this is going to give me a preview of this lesson. Okay, so I can kind of toggle between these pages. Ooh, indoor or outdoor. Right now, I would be an indoor girl.
Don't blame you.
I'm still shocked over the snake.
I know.
So all different kinds of answers in here. You also have that customized one at the end if you wanted to. Okay. And then if you like this, you can simply save it to your library. And at that point, you can customize the content. You can change the questions. You could make this an individual handout, all sorts of stuff in here to make it appropriate for your students. Okay. I'm going to pop back into Lumio Library just for one more second by clicking on that and see what else we have. I see Sarah Merritt says,
Yeah, mentioned classroom management.
so up in my keyword, I don't know that I know that one, Sarah.
I'm not sure either. But what's nice is, you can do this search if you like. You can scroll down and there's like manipulatives and more graphic organizers and all that. But you could also do a search for search terms like Kat's doing right now.
Let's make sure to hit that magnifying glass.
Yep.
Is it this one, Sarah?
Ooh, classroom management tools. I already
Okay.
see some things I like too.
Let's take a peek. So I clicked on it to get this preview. Ooh, okay. The editable calendar. Ooh,
Oh,
like this.
nice. Look at that.
Oh, and this has also got kind of the emotions. So
Yes.
this is fabulous. Thank you for sharing, Sarah.
Yeah, and again, what's nice, like you guys don't have to use this whole file, right? Like you could find one thing in here and be like, oh, I want that. You hit save to my library and you can just use one or two pages from it, whichever ones that you want. It's just nice to have the whole copy right there in your files.
So one last thing I do want to show you because it is great for relationship building, classroom management, all sorts of things. If you scroll down within Lumio Library, all the way down to the bottom, which keep scrolling and keep scrolling and keep scrolling, we have this new
Oh,
section of brain breaks. Okay, so this
love
is a
that.
great place to find some brain breaks, whether it's would you rather's, whether it's mindfulness, all sorts of stuff. But we know kids need breaks, right? I see Joanna. Ooh, brain break.
Yes.
So we know that kids need breaks, and these have a bunch that our team has put in here. So definitely check these out as you are getting in here. Okay. All
And you
right.
guys are saying there's so much stuff already made. Like peek in here before you go. Don't try to recreate the wheel, right?
Yes,
Already got a lot on our to-do list, so.
absolutely. So I'm going to come back to my library and I will see that those two files that I downloaded are here. Okay. So now I can just click on edit if I want to, right? If I want to edit anything, I can go in and look at what I want to change, et cetera, et cetera. All right, Melody, any last thoughts for us today?
No, I think that was great. That was great. I'm seeing Patricia was asking, where do I find the handout we worked on? So you guys, you are going to get a copy of our lesson today, the lesson activities. So we're going to provide a link for that lesson shortly. So you'll be able to pull it in from there. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So as we look at this and kind of wrap up our time together, there will be some things shared in the chat. Okay. We will also have a link to our survey. Let me pull up our lesson again. So with the survey, if you copy and paste that link into your browser, it will take you to a page where you can get your PD certificate. Okay, so you can get credit if your school will provide credit for you. Okay, that will be pasted in the chat in a minute. Additionally, and I'll come back to this slide in just a second. Additionally, some resources for you. This bit.ly/go Lumio has a ton of resources for you. If you want to learn more about Lumio, you can access our training center. We have a YouTube channel. We are all former educators, and these are going to be great little snippets, okay? Because we know time is really limited. If you'd like to join our ambassador community, we always love to see people in there. And then we will be starting up our webinar series today, obviously, and continuing out the fall. So that's a great place to continue to check. We will have some getting started webinars that are coming up. So if you're new to Lumio and you want to learn more about how to build and edit and customize these files, that would be a great place for you to start.
Kat, I don't know if you want to go ahead and click that Go Lumio and then scroll
Sure.
all the way to the bottom. The webinars one, sorry. Thank you.
Is it going to go? I'll just go here.
There you go. So once you get to that page, if you scroll all the way down, you'll see many recordings of our previous webinars. So this is going to kind of be where you'll find, ones that have passed, or maybe after this one's over, this will get uploaded here. So definitely take a look so that you can access those.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you all for joining and learning with us today. Okay, we are going to give everybody just another minute so you can grab those links in the chat. We do have a link to the resources that we use today. I'm going to pop those in the chat in case you did not have a chance to grab those. But we hope you're just full of ideas on ways to build your community and routines. And we hope to see you at another Explore Lumio webinar.